So this is the first of two videos for the Chem 111 lab to be watched in lieu of the fact that I am not going to be on campus on June the 5th. This is regarding the nomenclature lab. So I'm going to do some explanations of the lab itself for this video, and then there will be a separate video, which will actually be a crossover between my lecture and my lab, that is a more specific nomenclature only set of information. So we are doing the nomenclature lab. In your lab book, it has, and yes, my lab book has a slightly different cover. It has a label of 2B. Okay, we are not doing the 2A part. This gives you some extra information, which should actually involve the same kind of things that your textbook covers. There's also some additional explanation here on this page. And then the problems that you're working on begin on the following page, which is actually on page 97. And I will talk about my self-designed answer page so that I don't totally lose my mind when I grade these. So the other portion of the lab is 2C. Okay, this has an extensive polyatomic table, much more than your textbook has here on this page facing the 2C. It also has then more information on the back of the page here and questions here. All right, so now I need to do a screen share as I talk about this for how your answer key thing is going to look. So loaded to Canvas is a 6-page document. My advice, unless you are really good at upscripts and subscripts, print this out because I expect it to be printed out for turn-in. It's up to you if you want to print 2 copies and like have a scratch copy and a supplementary copy for turn-in. So it starts with 2B. What I have done is approximately every other in the list that matches your textbook. It does actually match your lab book. Okay. But this is to give you a more organized way to present your answers. You will see here that on number 1, so they are labeled A through Q, like I said, kind of every other one. All of these are metal, non-metal-ish compounds. You are given the formula. You need to give me the name. Okay. Make sure that you are looking at the information that there are a couple of polyatomics thrown into this mix. The second portion, okay, if you read the description in the textbook, it will tell you to give both the stock system, meaning the ones that have the Roman numerals, and the older system, but both. Okay. I don't really expect that. I expect you to give me answers with the Roman numeral system because that is what we are focusing on. So when you are doing 2A through Q, each and every one of that set should have a Roman numeral. If it does not, you have missed a step. At the bottom of this page, there are 4 binary acids. They are all acids. None of these last 4 on this front page should start with the word hydrogen. Okay, yes, there is a hydrogen in the front, but that is what makes it an acid. They should all be named as an acid. Proceeding on to the next page, we have a bunch of compounds here that are all pairs of non-metals. Different set of rules, which eventually will be covered. Now we need to start going back in the opposite direction. You have to be able to do both. All of these in the next parts of this page here have given you the verbal version. You have to translate it back into the symbols. You will note that there are both some of the ick and us system ones here. We've got ferrous and ferric. We talked a little bit about the rules for that in class on Wednesday. There's also a batch here that have the Roman numerals. When you are writing your formula, there should not be any Roman numerals in your formula. That's like a no-no. Then we get back to kind of a mixed bag. Here we have some more that is primarily non-metals. And then we flip over to the 2C part. So 2C and the rest of these pages have quite a few polyatomics. Anytime you see a molecule with more than 2 elements in it, you should immediately assume that there is probably a polyatomic involved. We have ASO4, we have PO4s, we have SiO3s. This is what the table in 2C of your lab book is extensively designed to help you through. You'll also see some of these things which have a little star, sometimes actually written in the textbook as a dot. I can't make Microsoft Word give me a dot. They are known as hydrates. And we will actually be talking about them more extensively in upcoming chapters, but you get some introduction to them. There is a paragraph in your lab book which provides you a description. Anything that has the dot some number of waters at the end of the molecule should end with the word hydrate. Now, hydrate may have a prefix, mono, di, tri, tetra, indicating the number of waters that are present. When you get toward the bottom of this page, you will note that all of these, until you get to the last one, start with H's. Here is your tip. They are all acids. Remember that we talked about different kinds of acids and their structural formulas in lecture. So this very last one here, the CH3COOH, was part of that discussion. The last two on the top of the next page are also acids. There are a specific portion of the rules that involve all these that have an H in the center of the molecule. Then there are kind of a mixed bag, okay? These are all going back in the other direction. These all have names, and you should be able to provide the symbol formulas for them. I will reiterate the information that is printed in the page part of your Canvas shell. Remember, when you click on the pages, there's a whole bunch of lists of stuff that's pages. A little bit of it is just regular stuff that the college loads, but a lot of it is pages that are specific to the lab that we are doing. Google is not your friend, okay? There are a whole bunch of these molecules that if you Google it and you pick the top choice, you will be wrong. Because unless you fail to understand, Google doesn't necessarily guarantee your answer is right. It is a popularity contest. It will give you the most common answer, as the top couple of hits, which is sometimes the wrong answer. There are also a number of molecules that, when you do chemistry for a living, you often refer to by more slang-related names that actually are not part of the nomenclature rules. So you need to keep that in mind. So hopefully you will be watching this video and its accompanying other one, which I have yet to post or create sometime in the next week before I see you on Wednesday, the 7th, I believe it is. I will be answering a lot of questions during the separations of a mixture lab, because there are certain parts of that lab that involve kind of standing around and thumb twiddling while you wait for something to cook or while you wait for something to cool. So this provides you accessibility for me to be able to answer some of the questions you may encounter as you are working on this assignment. As I said, I will be posting a second separate video, which is just about the nomenclature rules.